Dumelang ra la amogela mo go Daily Thetha on SABC 1. Nna ka lebitso ke nna Nicolette wa Gamashile ngwana wa kwa Bushbuckridge Mapulaneng yena re tshwareleng lona leme la matsogo ke seswa rone Andisa wa ga ke bashe. Batho ba go tala ba go botsa gore go ba motswadi ga se papadi, and we've seen many generations of parenthood change the way they parent because they all face different types of challenges. Of course, batswadi ba rona will not face the same challenges when it comes to their children as the challenges that we are going to be facing. I mean, looking at myself, I'm not a parent yet, but when I do become a parent, I know for a fact that my mother and I will probably differ on the way in which we parent. What is the modern day way of parenting? But what also constitutes as a parent?
Ngibingelele emakhaya komncane nomdala ngegama elodwa kaMeya uGcwale nisibe uzizi lo ngithi nakhona nami ngiqhuma kule ndaba sisihleli sibuka namhlanje sibuka ukuthi egathini zakudala bekulula nje ukubona ukuthi abazali emakhaya growing up with normal families, but in the times we live in today we don't even need to just look at studies and look for evidence, but we just need to look around ubone how many homes are headed by omama, and omama we want to who are single parents and in different situations raising 3-4 kids. Not just that, we've also seen that in these families and communities the struggles are immense. What is their livelihood like, but also what are the challenges they go through on a day-to-day. But also on the flip side, because in our communities, as we've seen a bunch of single fathers raising their kids alone in the absence of umama ekhaya. Utilizing our social media as a platform of communication on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Nakhona uyakwazi ukuthi usithinte ku WhatsApp ku 072-316-1329, and ukwazi ukuthi nawe uphawule kancane ukuthi what do you think is causing this? What do you think is the reason for it? And maybe njengomzali, how are you feeling?
Melody, I'm 31 years old. I am not a parent yet. Got 30, got 26 or 24. I can't even remember correctly. My mother was already a parent. We've seen millennials are taking a little bit longer to start their families, and some of them are even having or starting their families outside the confines of marriage. Now, this is the conversation we want to talk a little bit about. And when people talk about being a single parent, that thing, are you a single parent by virtue of you not having a partner, or are you a single parent because you are not perhaps in a relationship with anyone, or because we do speak to clinical psychologist Sibusiso Nyawose, who's going to help us navigate your situation. Sibusiso, welcome to Daily Thetha.
Thank you so much for having me.
I just want to correct myself. Your name is Nozibusiso Nyawose.
Yes, thank you.
I do apologize for that. I think let's get straight into our conversation.
Yep.
And perhaps maybe if you can just explain that for us.
Okay, so basically, this is the modern day that we are talking about now. And good and constructive parenting is so difficult. It is important for the child's development and as you as a parent, but it's not easy because of the world and the nature of reality that we live in today in our society.
So as we get into Nozibusiso, I want to understand, what's single parenthood?
Okay, so single parenthood can either be the mom or the dad, but basically raising the child on your own without the help of the other parent, which on its own comes with its own baggages psychologically, mentally, and emotionally. I mean, for example, being a parent in J is a jungle. It is a jungle out there because now you're raising a generation of children, and sometimes we tend to forget ourselves as well as parents. And being a parent, especially when you have pre-existing mental conditions, and now can you imagine the introduction of a child and the psychological conflicts that will come with. A lot of single parents tend to lose self-identity. They tend to lose their self-concept because now the attention is shifted from themselves to this baby that is now being brought into the world. And that's why we have increases in disorders, in conditions such as the pre and the postnatal depression, both for men and women.
Sis Nozi, I mean, you speak about the evolution, you speak about the new generation. I guess, Kulume, what is the evolution of parenthood?
Okay, so basically everything has evolved now. We are living in this modern day society where the normal woman is now, or any parent, we are now living in a society where it's professionalism that is taking preference. We are career women now. The world has become more dangerous as well at the same time, where there's so much anxiety as a parent on the safety and the security of the child, which obviously brings restlessness, it brings more mental conditions. And then when you look at the traditional parenting ways and now the modern parenting ways, and you compare the two, you see that studies are telling us that parents nowadays are now more lenient. More freedom is given to children. They have choices, they have options, and they have rights now. So that has changed the whole dynamic of parenting from
Sis Nozi.
that.
Sis Nozi, when
Yes.
you said something that really just triggered me, or they've got more freedom, mana, they now have rights. Is that not something to celebrate? A child knowing that they've got freedom. And I ask this question because to understand that now, over the years, how has it been that parenthood has become more difficult when everything else in life has become a little bit more easier? What happened there? Why is there friction?
I think definitely, like I said, we are now shifting into the professional career world where we are multitasking so many things. You have to be a professional, you have to be a parent, you have to be a friend. So many things are coming into play, and the demands of the professional world want a different aspect of you. It needs your attention. So that has changed. And now, obviously, it's a good thing that people have rights. It's a good thing that children have rights, but those rights come with responsibilities. And the onus has always been on the parent to make sure that you instill and you teach children those responsibilities. And I always hear people obviously saying that the millennials are now a different generation of children, and they always compare them to the previous children. So of course rights are important, but responsibility is an imperative, and it goes with that.
Nozi, just a quick question in terms of, are people really prepared to be parents?
I think you can never really prepare, or you can never have a manual that tells you that this is the steps, these are the steps you need to follow for being a parent. I think that being a parent is something that we learn along the way, also taking into consideration the support that you may have, because support is very important, especially for single parents. You're raising a child now in a different new world society with so many demands. You're multitasking. There's so many things that come into play, and also the mental condition, which is one aspect I don't want to leave out, because the child, it takes on the energy of the parent. Now, if you have a depressed parent, obviously this predisposes the child to be also depressed as well.
Yes,
so there's so many things to consider.
Ngithi ngibuze futhi again nami ngasumzali, but I would understand the frustration of ugogo owakhulisa thina, and watching me raise a child in this generation. Ugogo angakhathazeka kakhulu ukuthi yini into oyenzayo. How different is the experience for our parents that are watching us raise kids?
Melody, please repeat the question.
How different is the experience of abazali bethu watching us raising the new generation in terms of lendlela esenza ngayo?
Okay, it's quite different because you find that we become parents at a young age. I think Nicolette did say that earlier, that sometimes we become parents at a younger age when we are not prepared. But obviously I did say that you can never prepare for a child. You can go to your child planning clinic, but there's nothing more important than preparation and support. And this support, siyithola from the partner. I think when you look at the parents from the past, there was almost always a mom and a dad. Now, manje, masesibheka manje, it's mostly single parents, and that changes the whole narrative of parenting and the child ultimately that you will be raising. And also the studies that we read, they tell us that kids are more 3 times likely to become delinquent or drop out at schools if they're being raised by a single parent.
Sizibusiso ngicela ungibambele kanjalo sizobuya kuwena siqhubeke nenkulumo yethu because kuningi ngisazokubuza but before ngihlala nawe siqeda nje inkulumo yethu ngifuna ukuthi sithi sithathe ad break besibuye kefi sikwazi ukuthi sikhulume about something called co-parenting yini yenzani ngicela uhlale nathi after the break. Welcome back to Daily Thetha la ku SABC 1. Siyajabula ukuthi usasekhona ohleli nathi and sikhuluma ngento ebalekile. Sikhuluma because we've seen the increase when it comes to divorces like South Africa and imndeni eminingi seyakha different ways of ukuphila which is now called to be co-parenting. Now in this chapter of impilo yomuntu who believes ukuthi angisakwazi ukuba nomuntu and it's time for me to find a way to continue with my life but still be part of my child's life. We see the chapter of co-parenting. But before singena kuyona sikhuluma noPaul uPendulo wakamlotsha, we want to speak to you, or rather I say you speak to us because ama voice note enu niwathumele sifuna ukwalalela njengamanje.
It is very true that parenting has dynamically changed these days. We look at the factors like parents divorcing. They don't even consider what will happen to their kids as they divorce. They don't even, what they know is after divorce, the mother mostly, they claim the child, which is wrong because a child deserves parental support from both a father and a mother. But what we see these days is the competition to say, this child is mine, this child.
Me as Ingasotondoshe, I think nowadays parenting is so changed because there are too much rights now and this new generation is using rights badly because they don't want to listen to parents nowadays. So everything is changed, man. This parenting of now is not good.
Listening to your voice notes, it's quite interesting the dynamics that co-parenting come with and how different people actually perceive co-parenting. Now we know obviously that co-parenting is not something that was deeply enshrined in the African culture. Most people, it was about the thing of but it sounds like the gentlemen are also wanting to come into the story and say, you know what, if given the opportunity to co-parent, I definitely am for it. And on the line we're joined by Penwin Malocha, who is a father to 5 kids, and he would like to actually explain to us and give us a bit of a perspective in terms of co-parenting. Mr. Malocha, welcome to Daily Thetha.
Sanbonani, I'm very honored to be on the show.
How are you doing, Papa?
Very good. Just locked down, but what can you do?
Penwin, perhaps maybe you got a definition of co-parenting ki ingi and what is it not?
So what co-parenting is in the year 2020, it's both parents coming to the party, making sure that they sit together and decide on the different responsibilities that they have as parents, and then making sure that each parent meets their side, whether it's money, whether it's contact with the child, education with the child, or whatever else that they have decided on as parents.
And what can we agree that co-parenting is not?
What co-parenting is not a relationship, not marriage, not dating. The fact that you and I are sharing ideas and trying to raise a child together doesn't mean we love each other. It doesn't mean we need to be having sex, for example. It just means that we are 2 adults who are coming together almost in a professional sense to look at this little human being who relies on us and saying, look, this is the responsibility the universe has given us. How can we make the best of it so that Lengane in future can become the best that they can be?
Penwin, maybe to look into your journey as Mundeslis, I mean, you have 2 baby mamas, baby daddy, baby mom. For you as a baby daddy, you have 2 you have to speak to consistently to be able to raise your children. Walk us through with Integanjan. How does it work?
So I've actually got 3 mothers of my children, what's called baby mama. It's been very interesting because these are 3 very different females. I'm very blessed that all 3 of them are very strong, very intelligent women in their own right. They've obviously been struggled, but I'd like to think as human beings, abantu banzima on their own, you know, abantu bakhuni on their own. However, because we have this another life form that we have to be responsible for, kumele sikhulumisane ngendlela ethizeni. I've had a really great experience with one of my baby mamas. I've had a horrendous one with another one, and then with the third one, it's kind of a mix of both. Because I'm a personality abantu abafani, and I guess namagazi when we communicate and our vision for our children just clashes here and there.
But I guess ibuyise kancane mina kunomuntu ohlele endlini who has one baby mama njengomjita. Athi umfowethu uthi 3. How do you mentally approach this? Because ukhuluma nabantu abahlukile, they have different ways of life. How do you center yourself in this?
How I normally explain this to people is, you probably have a number of siblings.
Yeah.
You might have a number of friends. If you go to a school, you have a number of teachers, etc. I don't think any human being only is isolated to one other human being. So in that sense, ngibabuka almost as friends, ngibabuka almost as colleagues. Njengoba ngisho, we're sharing a responsibility together. Kumele sibambisane. The fact which in something we were intimate at some point, or this happens to be a child that we share, that almost becomes a secondary factor to the point that siyabantu sobabili khona nje umsebenzi kumele siwenze sobabili sibambisane. It's not meant to be easy, of course, and it's not for everyone. If anything, I'd advise most human beings out there to be more responsible and try to isolate it to one partner as far as possible.
Penel, perhaps a rebulele ka taba ya conflict, because as you said, you know, you've got one way things are going well, one way things might not always be going well, and one way there's a fair balance of well and not well. What are the causes of conflict?
There's many causes of conflict. Number one, when it comes to children, is just the vision on parenting. We may not see eye to eye in terms of when you're putting a public school and a private school. Omunye doesn't like ingane exposed to some violent movies, etc., etc. After that, there's obviously our own, probably our own relationship issues. And there's still some of that pain that might exist. You know, if you've ever fought with a work colleague, for example, it's difficult to be in a workspace with that person. And you'll find yourself being triggered even in work meetings. So it's a similar situation, where they'll constantly be triggered.
Penel, as you said, you've got 3 mothers that you are currently co-parenting with, but and you have been restricted from seeing that child. How is that one making you feel, and do you think there's possibility of future co-parenting with that mom?
Yeah, that's been a 7-year journey to date, and it's been a roller coaster. I had relative access to my child for maybe the first 4 years, and it's just gotten worse over the years. I've had to implore the court, the family court, back when my son was 1, and even now when my son turned 5, 6, and I'm still going through a process now. I had tried to get families to sit together because I believe in families trying to resolve issues, and then you only escalate thereafter. Which unfortunately the process is dragged.
Before Thetha, ngithi ngibuze nje probably the most important part, umndeni lana ungena kuphi siushare kanjani, because I'm sure all the families it's different dynamics again, and how are you able to get umndeni wakho mhlawumbe to support in this journey?
There's abantu abamnyama, we're so broken, unfortunately, and we've lost a lot of our identity. The way we're parenting, the way we're raising our kids, the way our families get involved is no longer from an African perspective. We're not even being trained how to be parents from a young age at our homes. You know, so families will obviously support you as far as they like you, just as a family member. But obviously, if you've got issues with your family as well, and I've felt some of those issues with some of my baby mamas as well, where they may not get the support that they want from certain family members because there's past issues that they're carrying valid. But family is so vitally important, and you need to try and win the support of as many stakeholders in your child's life as possible.
Look, Penel, sibonga kakhulu mfethu ukuthi wazile ukuthi uxoxe nathi and just shares your perspective as a man but also as a father of 5 kids. Siyabonga, and we really appreciate the journey that you've shared with us. Sithi sikhuluma noPenel la ku-Daily Thetha, bese sibuya from the ad break sikhuluma nentokazi ngegama bathu Siwe kaNdlovu. She gets to explain her journey as a single parent and who's still considering ukuthi ufuna ukujola but she doesn't know where to start. Stick with us, bese sibuya.
Daily Thetha. So where do you find out how to navigate the emotional side, the financial side, and even just the mentality of shaping your child to have their own identity? Now already this is difficult. Now a partner, to try and get a marriage that is going to be going. We'll know that it can become really tricky and really difficult. Just introducing your child to another new person, but also in a relationship, it really is a deal breaker for some people. But we get to speak to Tepang Masuku on the line to get an understanding in this situation.
Kodwa before we do that, Nicolette, ngicela ukuthi nje ngibone ukuthi emakhaya bathini at this very point. Now umlayezo uphuma kuThuto Khayile uthi ke parents are busy with careers, there is less attention paid to children, even worse with single parents. Today, there is less monitoring of children as they grow, and children grow very fast these days. Even ugogo can't keep up, which is iqiniso ke futhi thina abanye sikhulisa ugogo siyazi kahle into akhuluma ngayo, but also sithi size ukuthi kwi voice note nina nitheni.
Hi everyone, my name is Tumsane Mtezo from Richards Bay. The only challenge that I've faced in particular in 2020 is the fact that I've lost my job at the beginning of this year, so it was very difficult for me to take care of my child as a single parent in particular. So I had to take my child back to my granny's house so that they can help raise him. And therefore, I think that's the only difference that is happening nowadays, because modern day parenthood is very complicated. So it's not like the traditional dynamic of parenting whereby the child was raised by the whole family, and there was no problem whether you were working or not working. So nowadays you had to provide something on the table. So as they're looking after my child, I had to bring some food on the table, to go out there and be in job search so that I can be able to provide for my child and for everyone who's looking after my child. So it's very complicated.
One point that I'm sure about when it comes to that topic is you get millennials who try and raise children the modern way, where they refer to Google instead of listening to their parents. Like we all know that our parents are the ones who have to help us when it comes to raising children, but there's always the challenge is the conflict of trying to raise a child in a modern way compared to the olden day, where your mom has this belief and you have this belief, but as a mother you are like, this is my child, I'll do what I want to do.
There are different challenges and concerns when it comes to parenthood, especially in this modern day. People have various aspects that they are trying to navigate around, and one of those is definitely dating. And as I said, we're going to be talking to Tepang Masuku. Adulang Rai, she's a single mother, and she's saying, Nicolette, Melody, Daily Thetha, South Africa, and two saying it, because I would really like to start and move on with my life, because I'm not just a mother, I'm still a woman, you know, that does need companionship and does need to find a partner. But how do I do it? Let's welcome Tepang on our line. Hello, Tepang.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm great, thank you. Tepang, at what point do you tell the person that you're trying to date that actually I am a mother? At what point do you introduce that?
Pretty much the first time you speak. I feel like the earlier it's out there in the open, the better. Because agenda.
Because I'm just trying to understand. Hello, Sisi. Hello. And and I'm a mother. Like, how are you navigating it?
Unfortunately, title.
Okay.
Title makes it more important,
yes,
you know, because
yes.
Unfortunately or fortunately, you cannot detach yourself from it,
yeah.
Because you are good catering. We one, so only one. You cannot separate the two for your lover or for your child.
Yes.
So somehow it has to. You have to make it work. You have to wing it.
Yeah.
So it's very and first time umuwuderele.
Sister Pang, ngithi ngene njengomuntu wesilisa, I mean, end of the day, you know some men badlala my games. Yabo, umuntu afike ngathi interested, and aren't you afraid ukuthi mhlawumbe uzogcina uvula isifuba sakho to someone that is not even serious about you? So hamba utshela wonke umuntu ukuthi uya mother, when isn't there like a 2 months mele uyilinde before ubone to serious? Bese kuyamtshela hayi ndoda mina ngumama ngisinje intombi kuphela.
Yazini, lento le kahle is simple. The more you'd want to maybe separate yourself from being a mother, is the more it's going to be difficult for you. But if you wake up in the morning and you decide to yazini, impilo yami kahle iso, yabo. And nomuntu ozongena ngaphakathi kwayo, kumele understand it from the word go ukuthi iso, yabo. Understand that we want to protect our children, but it is our children that we need to protect, not necessarily the partner.
Yeah.
You know? So the partner must know, okay, mina kahle la ngikhuluma no mama, and mele azazi na lo muntu ukuthi angizanga la kuzodlala. Ifuna ukudlala imbrike lento.
But Sister Pang, mina ngifuna ungitshela ngama experiences wakho. Ngifuna ungitshele nje istory sakho ukuthi yazi mfethu kunomuntu so, kwaba so, and it didn't work or it worked.
Yes, mina since ngu baby mama. Angazi ukuthi why, but the people who've been approaching me abantu abangana abantwana. Okay? So that was a challenge because like it or not, umuntu angeke ahlala understand ukuthi wena awunaso isikhathi, or sometimes mawunaso isikhathi for yena kuzoba nama interruptions and in between your time together, and also into zingashintsha singaplana to Cape Town next week, but if umntwana Friday uyashisa and yonke into kumele nje ipostpone. So for me, yeah, definitely for me, I have had those problems before, but I think the biggest problem engiyafacana nayo ukuthi isikhathi ngisibhalansa kanjani between being umama nokuba yicherry or potential girlfriend, because as a single mother you are always held on a high pedestal, you know. If ungamtholi umuntu wena ubitha, wena you are still holding on to, you know, the past, wena ufuna move on, but still now move on tiwa no wena you are too much awunasikhathi umntwana, you know, wena ufuna ukuzibeka kuqala and uyakhohlwa ukuthi into seyishintshile. So yeah.
Tshepang, if I may come in there, the way you kgetang a partner, has it changed since you became a mother? Are you looking for somebody that, so in other words, I'm asking if the child and the protection of the child, does it dictate your new criteria?
I know. I don't think so, because first and foremost, you have to find a partner who will love you, because that's how a child feels safe.
Yeah.
That's how a child learns love, okay? So before you expect your partner to, you know, accept and love your child, you need to see how they treat you.
Yes.
You need to see how they treat the people around you.
Yes.
Because there's not a new love that he will wake up with in the morning. It's the very same one. So if you want to protect Mtwana, you have to choose umuntu who treats you, you know, the way that they're supposed to in a relationship.
Yeah, the way that reflects love.
Yeah.
And then Tshepang, a re bolele ka mama ko ntlong. O reng mama ge o re wena I'm now starting to look for, or I'm interested in dating. I know often our mothers want us to pair up with the person that we have a child with, but if that relationship has sailed, I mean, what do you do?
Okay, personally, I've had quite a few failed relationships since I separated with baby daddy, and already there's disappointment with my mom, you know. So every time I say, okay, mama, it's a problem because already you know. So Hanka Tomakiru who's saying, okay, I need to go spend time with Uzbanban. She's always on her toes. I wonder will it work out, because she feels like I'm exposing one.
Yeah, makes sense.
Too many people, and unfortunately, because somewhere, somehow, you know, we need to stop withholding the truth from our kids, because if we don't sit down and explain, unfortunately, they're gonna learn through social media, through what you told me, you know, with how fast-paced it is right now. It's either we tell them or they find out for themselves.
Sister Pang, in that light, that sounds like ukuthi abantu besifazane bathole kanzima. Umuntu wesilisa, do you feel that we have it easier? I mean, you and I have a child together, and ngokuthi wena ingane ihlala nawe, mina impilo yami iyaqhubeka. How does that make you feel in this day and age?
Okay. Ngizoqala ekuqaleni. Sometimes in a relationship, the partners lay for different reasons, ne? Sometimes the guy probably just having sex, ne? But at the end of the day, kuba nomntwana, right? And then umama umthwalayo for 9 months. By the time umntwana sekafika emhlabeni, it's already ngasho ukuthi unfortunately, it's already too late for the mom to want us to groom umntwana the same way. It will always lie on umama. And umntwana vele siyasho isizulu, umntwana owakamama, because umntwana nakagula umuntu oqala umama, umntwana ini umama, and then umntwana nakangashiwa abazali bobabili mhlambe boyithuba siyazi sengikhathele bathatha umntwana bamshiye kugogo. Ubani ozoblame kakhulu automatically umama.
Hey, siswami wayibeka nje yabanzima because besikhuluma nobhuti Penuel naye had different views and versions of it. But esikuthandayo ukuthi siloke siyafunda nathi loke sihamba. We're going to take an ad break, and when we come back from the ad break, we want to look at the hardships of parenting in the modern age. Ucabanga umsebenzi, ucabanga zonke inkinga esinazo emhlabeni. Kodwa sicela uhlale nathi. Let's quickly take a break.
Welcome back to Daily Thetha. If you just joined us, we're talking about the challenges and hardships of modern day parenting. Now we know what in this time of internet and all these things, but also having to become a professional and a working parent, how are you navigating around that? And before we get to speak to one of our guests who's quite excited to speak to us, let's hear
very difficult, very difficult. Ngiyabingelela ku-Daily Thetha. Ndiyanibulisa abasakazi, ndiphinde ndibulise ama-viewers wonke, ndibulise nabalali emakhaya. Into endi-experience kulo nyaka 2020 nge-co-parenting. It's very fresh. Me and my husband, we just separated last year, and we got a daughter on her 4 years. What a painful situation. Ukuthi umntana ubuza every day ukuthi ubaba ubuya nini, and ubaba only uthatha umntwana only when it suits him. Asinayo lento ukuthi sihlale phansi sithethile ngayo basiyenza kanjani, because uhleze ngekho available ukuthi sithethe, akanalo ixesha lokuthi sithethe nge-co-parenting ukuthi inzwa kanjani, uyayibalekela leyo nto. But yena ufuna mangabe semfuna kube ukuthi uyamfuna, and mangabe ngamfuni akamfuni, and anmazi, it's like uyikhipha as a secret kunye partner yakhe, and leyo nto leyo is so disturbing for abantwana.
Lokho sizwa nje umbukeli wethu akhala asho nje ukuthi bathi ingane ithi ubaba ubuya nini, ubaba ubuya nini. And that kind of opens up the mind to not just the women who are going through things, but also the men that have contributed to this bangacabanganga. Solitho ukuthi manje sixoxe kancane nosisi bathi usiwe wakandlovu, and she gets to give us a perspective of her as umuntu osebenza 12-hour shifts as a parent uhlale ekhaya, kodwa she still needs to be a mother. She still needs to be there as a single parent for ingane yakhe. Klesikati, Siwe, we welcome you to Daily Thetha la SABC 1.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No, Sister Siyajabula ukuthi ukhona. Walk us through your experience at the moment in Njongo Mzali, who's a single parent.
Okay, so I'm a single parent to a 20-month-old baby boy, and I work long hours. I work 12 hours, and it's a real challenge coming home from a 12-hour shift, and you've got to step into your motherly role. You know, you're tired, but you still need to make time to bond with your child, find out how your child has been. And another challenge for me is there's no time for me time. You know, say goodbye to privacy. He follows you all over. To the bathroom, he's there. Kitchen, he's there. You know?
Yeah.
So those are one of the challenges. And another thing, as a co-parenting parent, also sometimes with the father, if he has plans for the weekend and he says no, he can't take the child, then it's my responsibility now. So
See, well, maybe, maybe Arabulele just a little bit about especially what you've just highlighted now. Sometimes you are needing your family to also step in because you can't be a parent 24 hours. You're a working mom. Do you sometimes feel like you're not parenting enough because you are having to sacrifice that time to make ends meet?
Yes, sometimes I do really feel bad, especially on weekends. It's like time to take him out to the park, and I can't do that because I've got to fulfill my duties of being providing for him financially and working. So it is a bit of a challenge, honestly. And I encourage other single moms to really accept help. Get as much help as you need. But and don't be afraid.
Sorry, I just want to understand, don't be afraid to get help. Because they've got a way of parenting, and then we have a way of parenting. Nap time, downtime, you know, a child can only eat so many times in a day. But you know, how are you finding to balance that in your approach of parenting versus maybe whoever you are getting help from?
Usually I just let go because it's for a short time, because mainly I'm the primary parent, so it's almost a holiday for baby to go to granny, and get spoiled a bit. So I really don't have a problem with that. But just stick to the routine. Let the grandparents or your friend or whoever will be stepping in for that time, let them know of baby's routine.
But see, awusabi mhlambe because I mean uba wengane akekho akusumuntu oseduze. Awusabi ukuthi or maybe you feel ukuthi you are carrying all this responsibility alone, and uba wengane and is not carrying the challenges onazo nebusuku. Do you feel that things are equal?
No, they're definitely not equal. But then they're doing the best that they can, because he does try to come through. But I carry most of the burden.
And then Siwe, perhaps maybe, I mean, as somebody who's really passionate about financial literacy, having to provide for the child in the event of something happening to you, how do you have those discussions with, you know, not even just financially, who are the godparents of Tongkangwan? How do you navigate around those difficult conversations?
That was a hard one, and we needed to involve our parents because we have two different beliefs. So when the child is with me, we practice A. And when baby is with daddy, they practice B. So honestly, I leave that up to baby to grow up and
make decisions
and decide for themselves.
And I mean, it's something that a lot of young parents are still looking forward towards. It's finding uthando olusha. How's the challenging journey been for you as a new mother?
That's a challenge, honestly. I have a lot of fears. I have the fear of, am I going to find someone that's going to accept me with my child? Will this person want to be involved in raising my child? Because you find that most males are looking for a relationship with a partner, and they're not ready for a fully packaged family, you know, because I come as a package, you know. I am my son is me. We're inseparable, you know. So those are my fears, and I fear the type of men I bring into my space, because it's not just about me. I need to be answerable to my son one day.
And how has the journey been so far, especially in having to bring in your parents and baby daddy? You are going to be looking and actively looking for love.
Can you repeat that again?
I want to know what is the feeling that you get from parents and baby daddy when you do have the conversation, I am ready to find love.
We haven't had that conversation as yet, honestly. Yeah.
And awusabi mhlawumbe ukuthi bazok-reject abathi siwe wenzani uyajaha linda. Aren't you scared of that kind of reaction?
I am, because my parents are really fond of my child, and they are team, no, uzohlala nathi, we are going to raise him when I have your shot. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. You know? Where I go, he goes with me. You know? So that is really a challenge.
And I think, Siwe, before we let you go, I think the last one being is that what would you advise to omunye usisi ohlele ekhaya osesimeni esifana nesakho where they don't know ukuthi bajole bangajoli, and how do we help boost their self-confidence and believing themselves again?
Okay. Honestly, take your time. Take your time and love yourself. Accept yourself, because there's a lot of guilt and blame that comes with being a single parent. Like, no one ever goes into a relationship and have a child and hope that it fails.
Of course.
So there's a lot of guilt that comes with it. So take your time, love yourself, and pace yourself.
Amen. Siwe, that is beautiful. Take your time, love yourself, and pace yourself.
Yeah.
That is Siwe Ndlovu, who is a single parent right now, and she's really trying to navigate this modern day parenting. When we come back from the ad break, Rebolela Lisesi Nozibusiso, who's a clinical psychologist, she's coming back to the show to be able to help us navigate what are the best ways to parent.
Welcome back to Daily Thetha on SABC 1. If mhlawumbe uyangena nje endlini, hayi siyaxolisa inkulumo ngathi seyiyaphela, kodwa ingakapheli khona sizokushiya nawe ongakufunda namhlanje on today's episode, talking about kakhulu umzali, being a single parent in the modern day, being a co-parent in the modern day, the challenges of understanding what are the things you need to consider before ucabanga ukuthi yazini, I think I want to be a parent, and what should you consider as a worst case scenario. Sihleli, of course, with clinical psychologist Usisi Nozibusiso, who gets to help us now ukuthi sibuyise inkulumo kancane ukuthi we've spoken about the challenges, we've spoken about what it means ukuthi ube nengane eziwu-3 as a single parent, but at this point sithi sibuze wena sisi ngempela singenze njani. Welcome back to the show, Sis Nozibusiso.
Thank you again for having me.
Sisi, I mean, now we're looking back again to all the things that we've spoken about on today's show. I think for me, the hardest one is the mindset behind co-parenting. How do we prepare someone who goes, Lalela, you need to now understand we need to co-parent?
I think co-parenting is one of the most difficult things, because in co-parenting, remember, there is something that has happened between the parents, possibly a trauma or negative that has drifted them apart, and now they have to co-parent. So effective co-parenting is important, and effective communication comes first. You don't speak badly about the other parent to mntwana. You have to be consistent. The rules that are happening in the one home should be the rules that are happening in the other. And you don't use your child to fight your battles. And you compromise. And compromising means that you're sucking up your ego in order for you to work with the other parent, whether Niaz or Anzwani, because ultimately it's the child that is the common denominator here.
Perhaps maybe you said something, the studies are now showing kids that are raised by single parents have a higher chance of becoming delinquent, and several other things. Nobody chooses to be a single parent. So how can they do it effectively so that they don't find themselves in that situation?
The best way to do it effectively, if the co-parenting has not worked, and there's no other option that you have, basically as a single parent, you now have to play the role of being both a dad and a mom to this child.
Yeah.
You have to grow your child to be emotionally intelligent, to be able to understand the situation, and teach your child responsibility, communicate effectively with the child and consistently, because we don't want to be raising generations who are delinquents, who are dropping out of school, and then at the end of the day saying it's because I didn't have a parent. Yes, because they always almost use that as a justification.
Maybe let's talk a little bit, because in a situation sometimes parents or one parent is still being a single parent even in a marriage. How does one navigate that situation? Because there's still that traditional aspect of saying "Mwanaki wa mewa hai."
Okay, and I think definitely that's a sad aspect because you are in a marriage, but you feel that you are a single parent. You have to communicate with your partner, and if you see that your partner is not willing to assist in any way whatsoever, then that forces you to make decisions that are ultimately going to be beneficial for the child. But nothing is more important than support, because with minimal support, there's really so much that we can do. Also, getting your child involved, because we always have this mentality that your child is very intelligent and they see what is happening around them. So always try to integrate and involve them in what is happening and make them feel like they have that sense of identity.
Kodwa sisinoze yazi kunenkinga mhlawumbe esingayidili nayo kahle. I mean, as a parent, single parent, nginengane kodwa ngifuna ukujola manje ngifuna ukuba nomathandana engibonana naye, and the struggles of many people are that they don't believe they're good enough as umuntu wesifazane, or abantu besilisa don't believe that they're able to bring another woman into their child's life. Sidila kanjani with that mentality?
Okay, so dating without a child alone is a jungle. I think anyone can certainly agree there. But what is important is that if you're planning on dating or if you've met someone, you have to firstly be upfront and disclose that you do have a child. Now, I know that this can be very discriminating because other people can actually leave you just for the fact that, or not pursue you just for the fact that you have a child. Value systems are very, very, very important. And you have to choose the right time when you introduce your child to your partner. Now, this is almost always dependent on the age of the child. And dating comes with its own complexities. Try not too hard to get your partner to love your child, because you're going to miss so many dynamics that are happening with the child and the partner. So it is very, very complex, but it's not impossible. You just have to find someone who has the same value systems as you do.
But non-parents who are struggling with this dating situation. Blended families, is that the new norm of modern day parenting?
Definitely, it's a norm. There's blended families, same-sex parents that we're having nowadays. But again, it all goes with effective communication and helping your child understand that this is how your family is not your normal, traditional family that society perceives as normal. But we are your parents. We are here. We love you, and we will support you through every journey that you will encounter. So I think the main thing, even with blended families, same-sex parents, it's just communication and teaching your child.
Sisi njengoba sisizivala lana on our show today, ngifuna ngithi nje usiphe a bit of direction ukuthi for abantu who are saying yo sisinoze ukhuluma ngami, umuntu esizwe hlelo uthi ukhuluma ngama-fears ami, how do we encourage abantu ukuthi ngempela to pursue the positive side of being a single parent or co-parent or even someone ofuna ukujola kulesikhathi?
I think if you need obviously professional assistance, because you have to be strong as an individual first before you can make any decisions. I think firstly seek any professional assistant that you can get, whether it's psychotherapy and whatnot, and read as much as you can to familiarize yourself with parenting, so that everything that you do with good insight and you know exactly what you are getting yourself into. And lastly, you have to be ready. You have to be emotionally ready and mentally stable.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nozibu Siso, clinical psychologist. Every single time you come onto Daily Thetha, you leave us with something to really think about. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Hey, another show done and dusted, but another life impacted with umsebenzi siwenza la Daily Thetha, because the whole idea is 6 seasons now to hleli khona awukho wedwa sinawe kulesikhathi, and we want to teach as much as we can, but nathi lokehlela siyafunda.
Remember that all our conversations carry on all our social media platforms. Just to remember to hashtag Daily Thetha gore re kgone go ikreya le ya gago contribution. But for that, thank you very much for tuning in.